This is a tutorial for the MPK-killer cut-down call. Now, before I go on to the detail of that, let's just refresh our memory momentarily about some basic call procedure. We need to remind ourselves about air production. The air needs to come up from the diaphragm. And if you remember from our previous instructional stuff, that the easiest way to find the diaphragm is simply to cough. That simple action of coughing will help you to locate the group of muscles that power your diaphragm. Once you've discovered those and learned how to bring the air up from your diaphragm, it's then a question of how best to put it into the call. If you remember, we previously spoke about tongue position. Put the tip of your tongue at the bottom of the back of your front teeth, thus, and air insertion with your tongue in that position and the air coming up from your diaphragm should be tss, tss, tss. Now, that's pretty much the same for all calls, but it must be said that the MPK-killer cut-down call does require a slightly different technique. The call itself has got a much thicker reed. The reed itself is anything up to twice the thickness of the single or double reeds in the other MPK custom calls, and the effect of that is, with its thicker reed, that it requires more air to pass across the reed in order to get the appropriate sound out of it. And that doesn't actually mean that you have to blow harder, it simply means that you have to put more air across the reed. Now, my suggestion is that when you're using the MPK-killer cut-down call, that you think very much about your lung capacity before you engage with the call. And by that I mean, with an ordinary straightforward call, you can actually start blowing the call with a half-inflated lung capacity. And if I try that with a cut-down call, the call simply won't work. You need to make sure that you've got a big old lungful of air before you start blowing into the call itself. Now, if you use, and if I was to describe this as the upper half of your lungs capacity when you're operating the MPK-killer cut-down call, you'll find that basically the thing falls into place. If you use that upper half of your lung capacity, and remember that when you're blowing this style of call, you need to breathe more frequently. Once the air drops below a certain pressure, the call won't work. So it's very much a case of using the top half of your lungs capacity, thus. Do that, grasp that one simple fact, and you've cracked it.